Hello everyone, Janira here with your weekly dose of science. Today's topic is super interesting and fascinating, and something we can all learn and grow from. So take a ride with me through the marvelous world that is trees. I have met all kinds of people in my life, as I'm sure you all have too. And some people don't really respect nature and its every component, such as trees and grass and even entire landscapes. I guess I too used to think that anything that didn't scurry around or speak like us wasn't really alive. But I've learned through many years of studying and learning in a classroom that this is not always the case. I like to think of the planet as an interlocked system that works to keep itself alive, much like our bodies with all of its intricate and fragile systems. One thing that is removed or damaged and there can be disastrous consequences. The planet works much in that sense as well. One small change to an ecosystem and it can throw everything else into a state of disarray and imbalance. Have you ever entered a forest and wondered what the trees would tell you if they could speak? Most trees live for hundreds of years, and there's even some on this planet that have lived for thousands. Imagine the stories they could tell us about the past. They can't speak to us, but they can speak to each other, which in my opinion is even more marvelous and fascinating. What do you think they say to each other? A forest functions as a unit and as a community that helps and uplifts each other. They communicate through a root-like system of mycelium, which is just the fine white threads of fungi. These underground fungi form a relationship with the trees, one that is considered symbiotic. Since the fungi is underground and can't photosynthesize, it will send out its mycelium threads to scavenge for nutrients within the soil, such as phosphorus and nitrogen. It will then bring these nutrients and water back to the tree and exchange it for some sugars that are made through photosynthesis. This makes this relationship a mutualistic, symbiotic relationship that benefits both parties. These networks of fungi essentially act as a phone from tree to tree. They use them to send signals to one another. These signals can be to reach out for help when a tree does not have enough nutrients or water. Another tree will hear this distress signal and send over nutrients or water. They can even warn other trees to any environmental change and search for their kin or offspring. An ecologist by the name of Suzanne Simard studied trees specifically to understand them better and test a hypothesis she had that trees communicate. To everyone's surprise, she was right, and she continues to study how climate change, invasive species, and deforestation affects the intricate system that forests have developed. Her TED Talk and interview of her work will be in the description box for anyone who is interested to hear it from her expertise and her point of view. The communication between the trees is driven by factors in the environment, so there will be times when one tree needs a lot of consistent help for a period of time. The trees basically donate any excess nutrients and water to other trees who have been shaded. And the interesting thing about this is that this communication link is not only found in trees, but in other plants and even grasslands. But the big question at the moment is how this will be affected by climate change. Suzanne Simard believes that the communication will not cease to exist. It will possibly change and adapt to change over time. Another interesting link within this is something called mother trees. These are trees that are the oldest within the forest and have the most connections. But the name doesn't come purely from just that. It comes from the fact that they are in fact mothers to many of the trees around them. These mature trees can recognize their own kin or offspring. So these marvelous strong trees will help nurture their own kin or younger, more vulnerable trees through this mycelium system. Suzanne had a lot of pushback when it came to using the word communication, and I believe this has to do with our own disconnection to nature. It's so easy for us to see trees as an inanimate object, or even living things that aren't really alive. The use of this language will hopefully make us more empathetic to forests and make us less inclined to keep using methods that are harmful to our wildlife and landscapes. As Suzanne likes to say, a forest is a cooperative system. In a forest, the trees are the foundation. Trees harbor so many woodland creatures and become homes for them. By removing trees, you remove most life from that landscape. So the next time you think of a tree or see a tree, I hope that you see a magnificent organism that is alive in its own way. If we respect our wildlife and landscapes while finding more ethical and sustainable ways to complete tasks, our world will reflect the way we feel about it. Be the change you want to see, and hug a tree. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video and learning something new. Again, Suzanne's TED Talk and an interview about her work will be linked below, so I highly recommend you guys check that out. See you guys next time!